everyone, and welcome back to Lifting with Kate. Welcome back, everybody. I know it's been a minute since I posted anything. I went on a trip to Arizona and I've been really busy training for my up-and-coming competition, so I'm very excited for that. So today's video is kind of about my gym journey, my fitness journey. We've talked about it a little bit, but I kind of wanted to dive further into it. I know Lila is very excited about it. So yeah, we're gonna talk a bit about that today. So my fitness journey, my gym journey started from a very, very young age, if not practically from like the time I was born, even before that practically. So my parents met at a gym. They met at Lifetime Fitness. My dad was working there at the time, and so was my mom, and they met there, fell in love, got married, had me. The rest is history. So I am my parents' firstborn, so they obviously brought me into the gym from a newborn. There's a picture of me sitting on the front desk in a little denim jacket and khakis that says Lifetime Fitness embroidered on it. I will have to find the picture somewhere. I am not kidding. You can't make this shit up. The picture exists. But so as you can see, or as you can imagine, my fitness journey started very young. So practically born into the gym. But I would say that but when I truly started to get into like exercise was 2 years old. When I joined gymnastics, I joined the Mommy and Me classes. So started, in classes, and then I eventually got to the competitive team, which I continued doing until I was 17. So I would say that I was competitive for about 12 years. And gymnastics, if you guys don't know a lot about it, it's a very intense sport. It's not only the stuff that we do, like the cool flips and tricks that we do. The conditioning is insane. It's what got me into strength conditioning, personal training. That's what got me into it. So gymnastics, conditioning, lots of high numbers. Cardio's not crazy unless it's like in the summer, then we do a lot of running, but it's a lot of ab work, it's a lot of leg work, and it's not traditional, like we don't have any weights. It is completely body weight, complete calisthenics. I think the only time I really touched a weight while I was in gymnastics was probably for like PT, like physical therapy stuff. That's pretty much it. I guess we did do some drills with like a weighted ball. I wouldn't even call it a med ball. It was like a giant weighted ball with like duct tape, like a giant ball of duct tape and masking tape. So I guess you consider that a weight, but we use it for a drill, not necessarily for like training. But a lot of it was doing rope climbs and ab work, lots of ab holds. We did lots of position work. We did, goodness, I'd consider this will never be a workout that I will forget. One of, I guess, an easier day of conditioning, this was into my later years as a gymnast, but we would do 300 lunges, or altogether 150 on each leg, and then every like few minutes or so we would do like 5 to 10 burpees, something along those lines. And honestly, I really did like that workout. It was kind of cool, and you didn't have to use your brain a ton, which was nice, but most of the time we were doing stuff like Tabatas or AMRAPs or stuff like that. So that was kind of in my later years, but still, it was still consistent throughout my gymnastics career that we would spend about an hour on conditioning pretty much every practice. So, hi Lila, I know, it's it's a lot. Being a gymnast is a lot. And if there's any gymnasts out there, I I salute you. I am proud of you. You are doing amazing. I don't care what the judges say. What you're doing is sick as hell, and you're doing awesome. So I don't care how much your coach yells at you. I don't care how much deductions the judges give you. You are doing amazing. You are a badass. So fitness was very prevalent in my life for a long, long time. Even in high school, before I retired, I was in marching band, I was in cheer, I was in sports medicine. So, you know, I'm gonna say it, I would consider marching band a sport, because if you look at the definition of a sport, it's like, what is it? I'll have it up here. This is the definition of a sport. And I honestly think it meets that criteria. You are exerting yourself like crazy. And I played flute, which definitely is not the biggest instrument, but holding it in this position for minutes at a time, that shit's crazy. And the amount of air that you have to do, and you have to do this while going up and around all across a football field, that shit's insane. And they do it competitively. So I would consider marching band a sport. Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox. So did that, did cheer, which of course is a sport, and you know, fitness helped me a lot. Unfortunately, I was not a very good cheerleader, so I only did it for 1 year. I'm afraid of heights, so I was not a great flyer. I was afraid to do anything, so my bases really hated me, but it's okay. I hope they're doing great. But yeah, I was not a good cheerleader. My junior and senior year of high school, I was on the sports medicine team, so I learned a lot more about the body. I learned a lot more about, first aid and how the body works, anatomy, all that kind of stuff. All the technical, the nitty gritty, the sciencey part of working out. So that's high school. That's my high school fitness journey. I retired, and I actually got a personal trainer because I decided I want to be a strength conditioning coach. Problem was, I didn't know shit about weightlifting yet, so I needed somebody to teach me. So got a personal trainer of my own. He was great. His name's Bradley. I think he's a dad now. Like, he's got like twins now, so he's doing great. So he taught me pretty much basics of weightlifting, which he did so well, and honestly just taught me a lot. I remember coming home from that first session with him being so sore, and looking back at what we did, I think I probably would consider that a warm-up now. So it's just kind of crazy to see how far you can come in such a short amount of time. But yeah, hope Bradley's doing well. So I did that for like a year, few months maybe. Not a long time, but the pandemic rolls around, and that changed everything. Honestly, for the better. I know not a lot of people can say that, but the pandemic helped me a lot in my fitness journey. So, of course, everything is shut down. My parents' gym is shut down. Nobody can go anywhere. But I had the crazy idea to learn how to Olympic lift. I wanted to learn how to do it. I saw some other people doing it in the gym, and I just thought, that's where the real lifting is. I want to learn like that. I want to be a true lifter, and that's how I'm going to do it. So I went on YouTube, and I had the basic idea of how to do cleans. I had a very vague recollection of how to do snatch. So I went on YouTube, and I just started to figure it out. I started to fiddle around. It was not pretty, but we tried, and I was making a lot of growth. I was hitting a lot of PRs. Was the technique perfect? Absolutely not. But it felt good to learn something new and be able to try this thing that I wanted to try. and I was loving it. I fell in love with it so quickly. So I knew I wasn't going to get better on my own, so I recruited a coach. That coach being one of my old gymnastics coaches, Michael Anderson. So Michael Anderson is a former, I guess he's still an Olympian skeleton racer. He does bobsledding now, but he pretty much taught me everything I know. I guess almost everything I knew, still know. He taught me a lot about strength conditioning. I credit most of my success to that man. I love him so much, and he's taught me so much. We still do contrast therapy every weekend. I love him. I adore him, and he's so smart. But regardless, so he taught me how to do clean and jerk properly, how to do snatch properly, and how to train like an Olympic lifter. So just how to do it properly. Now, granted, Michael is not an Olympic lifter, but he has done Olympic lifting through training, and he also does CrossFit, so it's not a foreign concept. He could teach me a thing or two. So we did that for about a year, and I loved our sessions. I adore them. I still do. Every once in a while, we'll still go work out because I think we click so well together. And again, I can't say enough. I love him. I adore him. So, 2020, the fall of 2022, like summer to fall, I think September of 2022 comes around, and Michael pushes me, introduces me to my current coaches. So, my current coaches they break down the nitty-gritty of Olympic lifting. They have helped me with the mindset of a lifter. So, I can't praise them enough as well. They've taught me so much. But they taught me how to, lifting kilos, which is a whole new experience. It's a little bit of a mind fuck, but in the best way possible. So, honestly, try lifting in kilos. It might change your life. I know it changed mine. I love lifting in kilos. So, that's one little thing. But pretty soon after I started training with them, I started to notice some old injuries popping back up. So my back was starting to give me a lot of pain like it did when I was a gymnast, and that wasn't great. And so they recommended I go to one of my teammates who is also a physical therapist, go see her so she can do a thorough mock-up, a thorough checkup. Just see how my back was doing. So I think, I don't need physical therapy. It's not that bad. It's not like I had surgery on it or anything. I'm fine. I was not fine. So I go get it checked out, and basically my back and my core was just really weak, and I was doing things really wrong because of my back, which if I had continued to do that, then it would have just gotten worse, and it would have been a never-ending cycle. So that would not have been great. So let's talk about PT. So PT definitely changed the way that I trained. So I started to take things a lot more seriously. I was incorporating more things, more accessories, obviously, because not only was I doing the training that I was doing, but along with the other stuff on the side, and because it was my back and I was doing Olympic lifting, I had to take out a lot of things. I didn't do a snatch for months. I was pretty much only squatting for probably 2 months, 3 months maybe. it felt longer. It probably wasn't, but it felt like 6 months. I'm sure it wasn't, but it felt very long to only, like, I was only squatting. There was a point where I wasn't even allowed to do clean and jerk. So, like, I wasn't doing Olympic lifting at all. I was basically just doing glorified powerlifting from there for a little bit. So, of course, doing PT on the side and having to change my own lifts from everyone else's training, it definitely changed my psyche quite a bit. I had to really listen to my coaches, which, wasn't a new experience, because with gymnastics, you want to make your coaches proud. But I know a lot of gymnasts, you're told the same correction over and over and over and over and over. And a lot of gymnastics coaching is very belittling. It's not necessarily, it's getting a lot better, but when I was a kid, it was not the, what's the best word? Healthiest experience. It's not a friendly experience. It's not, and I'm not saying that this doesn't happen with other coaches, but the gymnastics world is very brutal. It's a very brutal sport, not only in your body, but on your mind. But the difference with Olympic lifting is that it's a whole different community. It's so much more supportive. And pretty much everyone, obviously not everyone, but most of the community are adults. So we treat each other like adults. And that was amazing to see that my injuries were actually believed, whereas in gymnastics, most of my coaches were like, oh no, you're fine, brush it off. Like, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine. And clearly now that I was seeing as an adult, I wasn't fine. So it was awesome to have coaches that believed me, and that I wasn't just being brushed to the side and I was just another athlete to them. So I was a vital part of the team, which felt really good no matter how new I was. They wanted to make sure that I was okay. So that was really amazing, and I'm so happy that I got to go. As much as injuries suck, I'm happy that experience happened, because it built a lot of trust between me and my coaches and me and my teammates, and I'm really happy that it happened. So my back was doing a lot better, and then this was winter of, like, the beginning of 2023. So back's getting better, and then I strain my rotator cuff. So if you know gymnast, yes, I'm retired, but I'll always be a gymnast. But if you know gymnasts, they get hurt doing dumb things. It's because we've been trained to be safe in training so much that we only get hurt doing stupid things. So I strained my rotator cuff, and that really puts a damper on things, because it was getting so much better. I was finally able to start lifting again. I was able to work on snatch. So that was a downer. And I did it doing a rage room. So highly recommend. Just maybe don't go really fucking hard for 30 minutes. Because you will strain your rotator cuff, or worse, or better, whatever. But yeah, I strained my rotator cuff, and according to doctor's orders, I was not allowed to lift more than 5 pounds for 2 weeks. So that was a really big bummer. So I really wasn't allowed to do much of anything. I wasn't even allowed to have a barbell on my back. So I couldn't do squats. Obviously I couldn't do Olympic lifting. I basically just had to do all lower body. You know, my coaches, they got creative, they figured it out, and like I said, they were there for me. But this was also the week of my birthday, so I would, go to the liquor store to go pick some stuff up, and I couldn't really put things in my cart because a 6-pack is more than 5 pounds. So I had to have the employees help me bring it to the car, which little bit of a bummer for a lifter when you have to have somebody help you take 6-packs to the car because they're not that heavy. I mean, yeah, I guess they are, but they're more than 5 pounds. So that sucked. That was really a downer because my back was getting better. It was getting so much better, and then I'm back to square one, if not lower than square one. Square 0.5, square 0, square -1. It was not great. Luckily, the recovery was a lot faster, a lot better than my back. My physical therapist really helped me with my shoulder. I did a ton of treatment. I did as much as I could to help it get better. And I tried to stay as good as I could with everything, with my treatment, with all of it. So my shoulder got better. So that's great. And then about a month later, I got COVID. So couldn't train because I was sick. And then that sucked. I had to be inside. And then after I got out, I went ice skating, which me and my boyfriend do every weekend. It was not a huge deal, but I was testing out new skates. And I slipped, and I fell hard enough that I got a concussion. So back to not training. Basically, training's not going well right now. And I then, after my concussion, got, the clear. I was all good. I got a sinus infection, a really bad sinus infection. So again, couldn't train. So get healed from that. And I can finally go back into the gym and start training. And it was a doozy to get back into everything. It was rough. It was really rough. But I was able to get out of it. So that was good. And I was able to get back into normalcy, get back into training. Really, I guess a more accurate depiction would be to start training normally because, I had gone through all these injuries and all this stuff, all these hurdles, and now I could, finally start training normally, like a normal athlete. So then my coaches send out something in the GroupMe about a competition in May, and it was, I think at this point it was April, end of March. And, I thought about it for a total of 5 minutes before signing up, because I actually missed what would have been my first competition because of my back. So I had to skip out on that one, but it was cool that I got to see how a Olympic lifting competition worked before going into one. So it was comfortable, that I knew how it was gonna go, and I signed up, and I was like, oh fuck, did I just make the wrong decision? My boyfriend looks at me, he's like, no, you didn't. You're gonna do it. So I'm very self-conscious about my weight right now, like weight on the bar, not weight on my body, weight on the bar. because I hadn't got to train like everybody else, and I was new. I mean, I had not even been doing it for a year yet. Are you itchy? What is itchy? I'd only been doing it for a year. Like I said, not even. But I said, you know what? Fuck it, let's do it. So try and get as best I can to, a decent weight. Hit a couple PRs. And, wait, did I? Yeah, I did. And we were off to Texas in the end of May. And it was a really cool experience. We got to train in a barn. Not train, compete. We competed in a barn. We stand right in the middle. Come here. We got to compete in a barn, and that was really, really cool. Everybody was so nice, and it was such a chill meet, and I did pretty well. I brought home a medal, so that was really cool. I know I could have lifted heavier, but with all the injuries in the training, I had to remind myself, hey, you're not where everybody else is at, and that's okay. So, it was what it was, or it is what it is. And it was really cool to be in Texas, because that's where I started my competitive gymnastics journey. Because I'd moved all around, but Texas is where I started my true competitive gymnastics journey. And we actually ate pizza in the town that I was in Texas. And then when we walked out of the Texas place, or the pizza place, sorry, I saw the Lifetime Fitness that my dad worked at when we were in Texas. So that was a really cool kind of like full circle moment to see that, because I grew up in that gym, so it was really cool to see. So yeah, I had my first meet. And then a weekend later, we had kind of like our own internal weightlifting games where it was basically just like a fuck around, put some weight up, and I was hitting PRs. Like, it was awesome. It was great. We were doing so awesome. Like, I felt amazing. I was like, holy shit, I can actually lift. I'm not this like terrible weak little thing. I can lift. So that was awesome until we had to move gyms. That sucked. We put everything in the truck. The day of weightlifting games, like literally we got done, we put everything in trucks and we hauled it back down to, was it the day of weightlifting? It's either the day of or day after. It was like right, super close. And we had to move gyms, so it was kind of like, bittersweet, because we knew that the next home meet wouldn't be at that same location, and it was really bittersweet. Hi, honey. So we moved gyms. Hi, honey. So now we're at this new location. I've got to drive a bit further, but you know what? Changing the schedule is fine. So now we're summer of 2023, and we're kind of up to date where the lifting is getting better. The lifting's doing good. Injuries are okay at the moment, knock on wood. And I've got a home competition next weekend. So yeah, that's my fitness journey so far. I will update you guys on how the competition goes. I'm very excited, so hopefully it goes well. Bye.